Hello everyone, due to an increased request for shorter intros, this is it. Just kidding. Today we're going to be talking about the top 5 dual sport bikes. You read the title right? These aren't going to be the most expensive bikes nor the shiniest. These are going to be 5 of the most purposeful and practical dual sports you can own. This list isn't intended for a city rider looking to add a bike to the stable or for someone trying to expand just for giggles. This is for the rural commuter, the teen going from dirt to street, or the middle-aged snob looking to go on that cross-country trek. These bikes are for you because I found out a lot of motorcycle quote-unquote sources on YouTube describe bikes with too many emotions and not enough facts. Whether a suspension is good or bad doesn't really matter to the viewer, the seat height does, as well as a solid reason why the suspension is how it is. Now, this is going to be my opinion on some solid dual sport options, meaning bikes that can go from the street to the dirt without too much hassle or changes or modifications. If you want to check out a super deep dive on what might be objectively the best dual sport bikes you can buy, check out the channel Everride. Tyler over there basically covers in depth the whole world of dual sports way more than I will in this video. He also has a great video about the best dual sports you can buy. So without further ado, let's check these out. First up is the Honda CRF 250L. The first bike on our list is the little Honda with an MSRP of $51,999. This dual sport has the lowest seat height at 34.4 inches. Coming across the pond from the Big Four, this is the shortest of these bikes, which makes it best for younger riders that are still growing or for adults that are vertically challenged. The Honda is a tried and true dual sport platform, and there's good reason for that. If you're going from a cruiser or even a smaller sport bike, you might notice that dual sports tend to have higher seats. This is so you can look around you and the bike when you're riding in the dirt, and so the bike has the necessary clearance to make it over the objects you're trying to avoid or crawl over. To give you perspective, most trail bikes and dual sports have seat heights with well over 36 inches, so the Honda gives you quite a better perch at that 34-inch height. Honda doesn't list the estimated miles per gallon on this bike, but thanks to the internet, Fuelly.com has riders reporting an average between 60 and 70 miles per gallon with a 2.1 gallon tank. This is common for dual sports because they're light. This bike is about 319 pounds, have a single cylinder, and the bike doesn't rev to 16,000 RPMs. The CRF 250L is powered by a 250cc engine pushing out a whopping 24.5 horsepower. But remember, this isn't on a 500-pound sport bike, so it'll have plenty of power. When you're hitting the dirt trails, you don't want excessive power. You want smooth, controlled, and predictable power. As a newbie dirt rider myself, I still have trouble cracking open the desert sled at full throttle off-road. 25 horsepower is plenty, trust me. If you're about to go from dirt to street and want something familiar and adaptable, then this bike is for you. There's no doubt about Honda's reliability or accessibility of parts, maintenance, and finding a knowledgeable tech do not require any kind of a quest. You can find everything locally or on the internet. With the help of YouTube, you can probably start turning wrenches on your own bike in a matter of hours and finding damn near anything off of RevZilla part-wise. The bike is great for entry-level riders as well as experienced riders switching from a sport bike or a cruiser to something more for dual sport riding. I recommend that all riders who have never been in the dirt or on a dual sport find a way. It's a lot of fun, and having a variety of motorcycles is part of the hobby, and you never know, you might like a dual sport more than your tried and true Turbo Busa. Now up next is one that is very familiar to most people. It's the Suzuki DRZ 400. So what do you buy if you already have a little bit of dirt experience, street experience, and are looking for something a little more beefy? Well, you look no further than the tried and true Suzuki DRZ 400. With a little bit taller seat height at 36.8 inches and touting a 398cc single cylinder, this thing is ready for the veteran rider and anyone in between. Popping mega dank nooners, tearing across town, and hopping on and off the highway is a breeze on this thing. With a wet weight of 319 pounds, the same as the CRF 250L, this bike is just as easy to pick up if dropped, just as nimble on the street, and perfect for all of your shenanigans. It's simple motorcycling distilled to its core parts. And the best part about the DRZ is if you get tired of the dual sport lifestyle, you can easily convert it to a supermoto, which is even offered by Suzuki in factory form. We did an entire video on why supermotos rule, so definitely check that out. The DRZ is perfect for the rural commuter, the outdoor worker, or even for someone that lives in the middle of nowhere beyond the banjo music and needs transportation on a lot of dirt or unpaved roads. With the bigger engine but lighter weight, it makes it even more manageable alone. It's got the tractor factor, my dudes. With a 2.6 gallon tank, this won't be your go-to bike for super long trips, but with 44 to 53 miles per gallon, you can still go over 100 miles with it. You can also add a larger adventure-style tank if you need the range. Another awesome thing about the DRZ 400 is they've been making them since 2000 the same way, so there's massive amounts of aftermarket support, forum support, modifications, and since it's carbureted, it's a dead simple machine to own and operate. In fact, I currently have a Suzuki DRZ 400 in my stable and it's been a lot of fun, but I'm gonna be giving it away completely for free to a lucky person. What? Yes, that's right. Along with a Honda CB650R and a Ninja 400, I'm giving away some motorcycles. Click the link below in my bio to get pre-registered for a giveaway and so that you can receive a notification when we're ready to launch this sweepstakes. 3 lucky people are gonna get some free bikes, so why not let it be you? Click the link, get signed up, and get notified when we're taking entries to win. Rumor has it that those who sign up early are going to get access to a special discount code when we launch. Don't miss out on that. Now, the elephant in the room is the DRZ's close competitor, the WR250R, but since it's more expensive, makes less torque, and is harder to find at good prices, the DRZ is our choice. And if you don't agree with me, Everride thinks the same thing, and I agree, the DRZ has the tractor factor and an awesome true blue dual sport bike. Now, up next on our list is an unconventional option, but it's the BMW R1250 GS. If for some reason you're not down with the dirt bike kind of look and would prefer something more traditional and substantial for your cross-country trips, then the BMW R1250 GS, or the GS in short, is going to be the bike of choice. Okay, it's obviously not a dual sport, it's an adventure bike, but with enough skill and know-how, you too can hustle a GS down some single tracks. I've seen it done before. Nothing says second divorced finalized YOLO like this bike and some high-vis gear. The GS is suited for longer distance trips, and here's why. The bike has an engine that's 1254 cc's and is a boxer twin, which allows it to be tucked into the frame better and allows for more ground clearance. This bike is a dual sport classified as an adventure bike because of its size and weight. I think it's over 550 pounds, so it's not going to be real easy to manipulate in low speed and heavy dirt situations, but it is plenty capable. This bike is best for someone venturing into the unknown, literally. The type of person that's going to throw a dart at a map and just ride there, this is the bike. Whether the roads are paved or not isn't your concern, and with the capability to carry saddlebags, you can bring all of your necessities with you on a trek. Don't let the base price of nearly $20,000 scare you away. This bike is purpose-built and will take you wherever you need to go. Unlike smaller displacement dual sports, it has 136 horsepower and 105 foot-pounds of torque. Wow, that's a lot of torque. Its payload or cargo capacity is about 480 pounds. It will move, keep up, and even pass cars and traffic with ease. Just because the only one you ever saw was ridden by an ATGAT Brigade commander doesn't mean this thing won't pop mega dank nooners on your cross-country tour when you go soul searching. The biggest drawback, however, especially for dirt riding, is that it has gobs of torque and weighs a ton. At nearly 600 pounds, this isn't a bike you want to attempt to pick up on your own unless you've been hitting those squats and your name is Arnold. You only do it if you have to and do it properly. With a 7.9 gallon tank, you can ride for hours anywhere. Another setback might be the mileage at an average of 40 to 45 miles per gallon, but the gas tank size still ensures about 300 miles between fill-ups. The bike itself can be accessorized and optimized for trips and passengers. It might not be your everyday commuter, but it totally could be, but it is sure to get you to your destination no matter what continent you live on. Fun fact, Ewan McGregor, young Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Charlie Borman went on 2 international bike tours on BMW motorcycles. The first trip was in 04 on R1150 GSs, and then in 07 they rode an R1200 GS, the predecessor to the current generation. These bikes will literally take you around the world, so if you're wanting something that has more road manners than off-road manners, the GS is truly the gold standard for adventure bikes. Up next is the tried and true, indestructible KLR 650. So you live in a rural area where you travel on dirt roads and paved roads just to get to the nearest store, but you also want something that isn't too small or isn't too big. I got just the thing. The Kawasaki KLR 650 is a great bike for someone looking for local commutes that require something more capable than just a sport bike or cruiser. From the Lime Green Company comes this bike with a 651cc single-cylinder 4-stroke engine. It also takes the cake of being one of Kawasaki's few models that isn't called a Ninja, although I kind of wish it was called a Ninja because it would be the aging old fat Ninja who can still kick your ass. Standard with a cargo rack, 6.1 gallon fuel tank, and built for the everyday, it's a Kawasaki, what can I say? Wait, it was actually discontinued in 2018, but with a running history of 31 years of production, you can find them in really good shape used. Just because production ended doesn't mean you can't find a new 2018 model for cheap either. Since the bike has so much history with motorcyclists, parts are on the cheaper end and the aftermarket is strong. Also, the KLR has the reputation of being basically indestructible, which it kind of is. The only downside of the KLR is that since it's in the 650 class of bikes, it can be a bit heavier than its featherweight 250 and 400cc counterparts. But boy, the KLR can muscle up just about any hill in a gear as high as third if you're brave enough. And last on our list is the venerable KTM 690 Enduro R. What would a list of dual sports be without a KTM? Bringing back the dirt bike rider types, the KTM is also available for street use as well, so if you've encountered the KTM rider on the trails or on the dirt track, you can now encounter him on the streets as well. Plot twist, what if you become the KTM rider on the street? Anyways, the 690 Enduro has a price tag of about 12 grand, and yes, it is an orange bike. With an engine displacement equal to its model name, a rarity, the 690cc single-cylinder engine pumps out 75 horsepower and 54 foot-pounds of torque. With a weight of only 322 pounds, this bike is fit for solo use on the trails and is manageable if dropped. As a dual sport, you can expect two things from KTM. The first is that it will work, and the second is that other people will justify why their bike is not a KTM. If you're on the shorter end of the height scale, the 690 Enduro has a seat height of 35.8 inches, which isn't going to be too friendly, but it is manageable with a good pair of riding boots and some clever shimmying around in the seat. You're planning on wearing those heavy-duty boots on the trails, right? With a 3.6 gallon tank and averages of 40 to 50 miles per gallon, it's not uncommon to see 160 miles on a full tank. The KTM 690 gets a bad rap as an unreliable mess of a bike. Riding with Tom has had his fair share of problems with the 690 that left him for dead in the desert. Yikes. But the new 690s are about as good as it gets for big punchy single-cylinder fun that you can still chuck down a gravel road or even some gnarly single track. Now, I'd like to do some honorable mentions as well, since there's loads of amazing dual sport options out there. Yamaha's XT225 is the gold standard for dual sport trail bikes that are low seat height, easy to manage, and super fun to ride. Kawasaki also has the little-known KLX 250, which is one of the absolute cheapest dual sports you can buy off the showroom floor, and hell, that KLX 300R is looking pretty spiffy too. And if you want to copy your sweet Papa Yam, why not pick up a Ducati Scrambler Desert Sled? It's not a conventional dual sport bike, but it took me down some gnarly trails in Galeana, Mexico and back, so it's good for it. Which bike would you consider buying or have ridden already? Do you think this list is accurate? How does it compare with other lists on YouTube? Papa wants to know, honestly. Like I said before, I see too many places for motorcycle content. They tend to be more emotional about their bikes instead of using facts. Don't forget to click the link below and learn about our giveaway motorcycles. If you like dual sports and naked bikes or small displacement sport bikes, we've got you covered. Hit the link, get pre-registered so you can receive a notification when we've launched and we're accepting entries to our giveaway. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later. Fact: the first 3D film called The Power of Love had its premiere at Los Angeles' Ambassador Hotel Theater on September 27th, 1922. Damn, that was almost 100 years ago. 2020 is right around the corner, guys. Where are my flying Turbo Busas? Goodbye.